Reggie here, your friendly neighborhood bodybuilder and comic book collector, and I want to welcome you to another one of my live streams. This is Comics Today, a show that we do on Wednesday to celebrate the best day of the week, that being New Comic Book Day. And typically during this show, we talk about some news and some current events and some happenings in the world of comics, and I typically have a guest or two on the show to help me to make sense of the aforementioned things. And tonight we are going to have a guest. Skeleton Key Comics is going to come and hang out with me in just a few minutes to talk a little bit about women in comics. And we are going to revisit that top 25 list that I ran through on Sunday's show. And then we're going to talk about a couple of other things. We're going to get her impression of that list, and we're going to talk about a host of other things. As part of our celebration of New Comic Book Day, I typically like to give shout outs to folks that have been able to hit up their LCSs, pick up some books, and that's how we do the shout out. So if you are here in the room right now and you were able to hit up your LCS and you were able to snack some books, let me know what you picked up. And also, if you had an opportunity to read something, let us know what we should put on the top of our stacks. And full disclosure, I did not make it to the LCS today. I called them and said, what do I have in my box? And they were like, we have two things. I said, I'll see you next week. Truth be told, I'll probably go this weekend, but I spent a healthy portion of my non-working hours today working for my wife, painting various walls that my children have damaged and or scuffed up. So I did not have the energy to make it to the LCS, but hopefully you guys were able to actually get to your local comic shop, and hopefully the shop actually had books, because I know people across the country have been challenged with being able to get books because of some things happening with FedEx and UPS, et cetera, et cetera. So hopefully folks were able to pick up their stuff. So I'm going to the chat right now and seeing what folks have picked up. My LCS is always late for New Comic Book Day, says Jerry. It is good to see you, my friend. Hopefully you're doing well down there. Tina's in the house. How you doing, Tina? It is always good to see you. I started to send you a message earlier today just to say hello. But that wall, the amount of space that I had to cover with paint was not getting any smaller by the moment. So I had to focus. I had to focus and concentrate on rolling out that wall, you know. James says comic shops here in Ireland are only doing delivery. Ordered a Joker #1 with a few variants. That's what's up, brother. That's what's up. Well, first and foremost, hello to you in Ireland first. Second, that's not necessarily a bad deal. The shops are sending books out, not necessarily a bad deal. I still do enjoy the habit of going to the comic shop, but in this COVID world, man, even that is modified. You know, you just can't spend as much time there as you would want to. So, but definitely shout out to you, James. Definitely appreciate you tuning in. Daniel says Superman, Batman, Urban Legend, Power Rangers, and Wonder Woman are the ones that Daniel picked up. Shout out to you, brother. Philip says no LCS, but read digital first sensational Wonder Woman. He says three flames. So it must be good. Must be good. I'm a big fan of the digital stuff, to be honest with you. Just a little bit easier to do some of that stuff. You know, Joe, I'm gonna tell you, brother, the list is no joke. It is no joke. She looks at walls and she's like, this wall is scuffed up. I try to do everything I can to undo the damage done by my kids that do not involve me painting. And it like sometimes I can save myself. In other instances, I just go get the roller and start doing cut lines and, you know, make that magic happen, because the list again is not getting any longer. Steve, maybe other people noticed. I don't know. I don't know if other folks noticed, but we definitely have changed out our wall, as we talked about, I think, on Sunday's show, about the need to change out the wall to represent Women's History Month. So I went ahead and switched it out with a couple of really cool books from the collection, both raw and graded. There's a ton of, I think, really great stuff back there from Marvel and DC, older stuff, some new stuff. I mean, there's some new characters, old characters. Like, I think there's a nice assortment back there, man. Brother, I'm gonna tell you, I gave away X20. No, what was it? NYX. Gave away NYX to a very awesome AOK to somebody. And then I still kind of regret it because I love that book. I wish I had another copy of that book. I don't regret giving it away. I regret not having another copy for myself because I do like some X23, no doubt about that. Doug says, didn't get to the LCS. My money has gone to the FeeBay. The FeeBay gotcha, man. They put that thing out the other day. I think they're giving what? 5% back or something like that with eBay bucks. I think they're wrapping up eBay bucks or something like that, like April 1st or something. So I think they put out that 5%, man. They almost got me. There's a couple of things out there I'm looking at and I'm trying to resist the temptation. L. Smith says, sad face today. Went to the LCS and they were busy sorting. Truck didn't show until today. Hope to get them tomorrow. Okay, that's good stuff, brother. I know you, sir, get a massive stack of stuff. So I'm pretty sure they are waiting for you to come back. You know what I'm saying? Milt says, Scouts Honor, Space Bastards, and Redemption were great reads. The two-tone Marvel covers were great as well. I don't know if I know any of those titles, so that's cool. That's cool. I don't know that I know any of those, so I always dig that when you guys are flagging things that I haven't necessarily heard of before. Austin and Vicky Moore says, read Crime Syndicate #1. And oh no, he read, sorry, I read it incorrectly. Read Crime Syndicate #1. And man, is it awesome. An awesome twist. I haven't read anything like it. Still waiting on Noctera from the FeeBay. Got Spawn 2 through 5, 7 and 10. Only 9 left to finish the run. Good luck on that journey. I'm going to tell you, bro, Noctera, I enjoyed some Noctera, man. You guys are gonna. There's 2 videos. One that's already been filmed that will be coming out probably in the next 2 weeks. One that I will be filming once some additional books arrive. I'm going to show you guys just how much I love some Noctera because I definitely dig it. Definitely dig it. Scrolling through. Oh, you got the die cut nonstop. I have not read that book, the Nonstop Spider-Man. I heard some good stuff about that. I heard it was like action packed, hence the name Nonstop, but I have not yet had a chance to read it myself. Climbing Comics, always good to see you, brother. Scrolling through some of the names here, watching on my TV, but have to chat on my phone. Those are first world problems, my friend. First world problems, my man. I wonder if that counts as a double view. That might be a double view. I'm going to need more of you to do what Diesel is doing right now. Double views, double views. Kevin says he picked up Immortal Hulk. That was one of the books that was in my box. Picked up X-Men Children of the Atom, ASM 63, Nonstop Spider-Man, and also Joker. Couple of duplicates from other people. Very good, very good. Lots of good books out today, he says. Scrolling through some of the names here. What is this? Lucky Pulp Fiction in Long Beach, CA. Is dedicated to great service. You don't hear that often. So definitely want to give a nod to those folks down there. I have not missed a title all year. Pulls are paid for and picked up at the door. That's what's up right there. Dan says he picked up Mighty Morphin 5. Joker 1, Nonstop Spider-Man 1, both the A cover and the die cut cover. Also Wolverine black and white and red. Sorry. Good stuff. Good stuff. Scrolling through. I see your brother picked up Joker #1. I clearly should have gone to the comic shop and because I'm missing out on some books that you guys are all talking about. I didn't have any of these on my pull, but if I had gone to the shop and not been lazy, I probably would have picked these up because they're there. Scrolling through some of the comments here, seeing what else you guys are talking about. Nottingham #1, Maniac of New York, Conan, Daredevil, Joker, Nonstop. A lot of duplication. DC Dude is in the house. DC Dude reached out to me via the Instagram and was surprised that I responded back to him in a timely fashion. DC Dude, it is good to see you, brother. He said picked up Wonder Man, Superman, Urban Legends, Joker, Green Lantern, and also picked up a few old Deathstroke. That's what's up. Good stuff. Good stuff. Brandon in the house, is good to see you, my man. Thank you, Jared. Definitely appreciate that. Scrolling through some of the comments here, seeing what else. Milt says, anyone else like those two-tone covers? I think I saw someone else, at least 1 or 2 other people up top that kind of commented on that one. So definitely some good stuff. And I do have a surprise, not a surprise, but somebody reached out to me earlier today to basically give me a piece of information that to some degree or another answered a question that has been on my mind probably for 2.5 months. And if you watch my videos and if you watch the Go Collect videos, when I get to this a little bit later in the show, it is all going to make sense to you. Shout out to my man, Donnell. One other thing, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do something else in a minute. Our guest has appeared in the green room, and we are about to go to her right now. Sammy, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Oh, it is definitely my pleasure. It is my pleasure. I'm going to turn your mic up just a little bit so that I make sure I can hear you over my children in the background.
Sounds of joy in the background.
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Sounds of joy in the background. The kids.
Oh, is that what we call it? I call it noise.
Yeah.
Well, Skeleton Key Comics is what you go by on the Instagram machine, and I definitely want to welcome you to the show. You and I have been talking off and on for like the last maybe 3 weeks or something like that, and I sent you an AOK to help you out because I wanted you to step up your con attending game, because you and your husband went to a con recently, and you guys had a storefolio, and I wanted to send you an AOK to show my appreciation for you and also to help you elevate your game a little bit.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And I like it too because it stands out, you know what I mean, among all the other comic games.
We don't do boring here, you know what I'm saying?
You do extra. I like it.
I try. You have to do something. So Sammy, I wanted to have you on to celebrate Women's History Month, right? Because if we're going to talk about Women's History Month, we should probably do so with a woman. So thank you for accepting my invitation to actually come on. And off the top, you are a comic book collector, yes?
Yes.
And you read comic books as well.
Yes, when the kids let me.
Yeah, I know all about that one. And in addition to that, though, you are also you and your husband are comic book dealers. Yes.
Yes.
How long have you guys been dealing in comics?
You know, Tony had been selling on eBay for a few years to basically, fund the hobby. Then after he got back from a deployment, we just went in, joined in on the comic fam on Instagram, moved our business on eBay and onto IG, and it's been so much fun. And
so had you been reading comics before Tony, or did you get into comics as a result of your husband?
Oh, I got really into it as a result of Tony. Yeah, I love superheroes from growing up with Storm. Dad used to braid my hair for school and entered my life when I was in kindergarten. And, once Tony and I were together, and he took me to a comic book store that he loved. And one of the owners was a female, and he was like, take her, help her, pick her out whatever she wants. We left with hundreds of dollars in trade paperbacks, and I got hooked on one, and I just fell in love with the rest. So
there you go. Yeah. So it's fair to say that to some degree or another, you've always kind of been around superheroes, but it wasn't until a little bit later that you really got into the comics. Is that fair?
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
All right. And then you guys have been dealing, I think I heard, for a couple of years. Was that correct? Yeah.
Yep. Tony had, like I said, he started on eBay a few years ago, and then we started together in July this past summer.
There you go. And you guys have been hitting it pretty hard. I mean, it seems like every time I get on Instagram, you guys are doing something, some unboxing, you're collaborating with other people, you're interacting with people online. And it's like you guys have jumped. Well, I say you guys, I mean, you have jumped into it with both feet. And it's just been interesting to see. Again, I know you talk to Tom, you talk to me, I know you talk to other people. It's just really cool to see you interacting with folks.
Yes, it's been so awesome. And especially, since COVID, it allows you to not only talk with other adults, you know how it is when you're at home kids, love them, but you love that adult connection and that conversation, but also over something that's fun and that's hobby and that's enjoyable, you know?
Yeah,
So
when I
just
when I
being
when I
so
reached out to you guys earlier, I sent you a message and I was like, "Hey, I've been meaning to message you for like 3 days." And Tony responded back because I was like, "What? What are you doing tonight?" And he responded back. He was like, "She's probably bagging and boarding." And I was like, "Only a true collector spends their evenings bagging and boarding comics." You know what I'm saying?
yep. Yep.
So I want to get back to some of what we just started talking about in a few minutes. But one of the things that I wanted to do was to take a look really quickly at this list of the best female superheroes of all time. And this was actually something that I talked about on my Sunday show. And this list is actually on the Newsarama website, and they basically did, I think, like an internal poll or something like that of employees, and they identified, the top 25, best superheroes of all time. And I'm curious, did you get a chance to look at this list? And if so, what is your general impression of what you saw on this list?
Did get a chance to look at the list, and especially the top 5. I think it was very, very intentional,
Mm-hmm.
and I like they did with the top 5. The only character I was surprised not to see on the list was Kitty Pryde.
Mm.
I was surprised I didn't see Kitty Pryde on the list. And speaking of Jane Foster, she was the other one I thought that I feel like even though I don't hear about her a lot, her storyline is relatively short. I'm surprised she was lower on the list because of the connection she has to so many. A few months ago, I had that topic because I connect with her with family members that I've been very close with who've passed away from cancer. And a
Mm.
lot of people have that really strong emotional connection to her. So I felt like maybe she could have been better than 24.
Better than 24. So in
Yeah.
your opinion, why do you think Kitty should have been on the list? And do you think that she wasn't on the list because there were already, and I'm doing this off of memory, 2 other X-Men on the list already, that being Jean Grey and Storm? Do you think that that's why Kitty wasn't added? So I just want to dig into that just a little bit.
I feel like Kitty Pryde should have been on there because, she was so young when she went into the X-Men, and all that she has accomplished and much she has grown and just kicking butt, and to where she is now. She's just so awesome,
She's Kate
Um,
now. She's Kate now. You got to put some respect on it.
so sure. But this should have was it top 25, right? They'll have to make 26.
There you go. There you go. And so, I think Kitty was definitely one of those people that folks identified that should potentially be on the list. I mean, in many ways, she is like a little bit of a fan favorite for a lot of people that have seen her grow. Well, they've grown up with her, if you will, for a lot of folks. So that was a little bit of a surprise. And what was your? I mean, I think the point that you raised about Jane Foster potentially being, in a better position on the list. That does make sense. I never really thought about the emotional connection that people could have to her because of the cancer story, and as soon as you said it, I'm like, wow, I could think of many family members that have been affected by cancer and many friends that have been affected by it as well. And I had not thought about that until the moment that you said it there.
Yeah, and I thought about it too when I was reading, their reason of putting Susan Storm as number 5, which I understand that, like, you can connect to her through motherhood and all those parts of being a woman. So I was thinking, like, if they're making that connection emotionally with Susan Storm, they should have probably considered it there as well.
That makes sense. That makes sense. I don't know that I actually read the list. I kind of just looked at the pictures, but you took it to the extra step. So I definitely respect that. Was there anybody on here that surprised you where you're like, that person shouldn't be on the list? Was there any of that as you went through it? Or again, because you read the rationale, did the rationales kind of convince you that they should be on there?
I didn't read any of the rationales below the 5,
Mm.
but when I saw Faith on there, That is a character I've heavily overlooked. See, now that I see it on the list, I've never dug into her story or took the time to learn about her, but now seeing her on the list, I feel like I should. So I can't say that she should be knocked off the list at all, but it makes me very intrigued, especially since I love Jane Foster,
Yeah.
especially since she's above Jane Foster on the list for sure.
And I think, potentially she's on the list because, when you look at this list, you can't help but see that they have attempted to represent a spectrum of women, right? From different backgrounds. There is definitely some diversity that is happening there. And I think that makes sense, right? Because the whole thing is these characters connect with people, and let's represent that, and so again, that's why I think like a character like Rocket and certainly Faith are on there, because they kind of sort of make sense, and I probably should have read the justifications, because I'm just making this stuff up as I go along.
Yeah, no, I do like I can definitely tell that they did diversitize the list for sure.
So let's sorry, I cut you off there. Oh, wait a minute. Kitty Pryde's on there.
Oh, wait, she's not on the list.
She made the list.
I was going to say, girl.
And again, I did the show and totally missed it. You know what I'm saying? So there she is, Kitty Pryde. Kate's on the list. Everybody respects that. She's 17th. So awesome. let's dig into the top 5, if you will, right? Was there any surprises here for you as we look at those top 5, or did that list make sense to you? Because you've already spoken about one of them, that being Invisible Woman, and people connecting with her as a mother, as a superhero, et cetera, et cetera. Did the top 5 make sense to you as a whole?
It did. At first, when I saw the top 5, at first glance, without putting any type of like reason behind it, I was like, okay, this is a bit of an odd list. I wasn't expecting that because I saw Batgirl on there. But then I actually thought about it, and some of our comic fam, they have young ones, their girls love Batgirl. And you know what? Once I thought about it, Batgirl is just the perfect character to just have the younger generation just fall in love with superheroes. So I can definitely see why she made the list. So at first I was a little bit surprised, but after I sat down about it, I feel like the list was very, very intentional with top 5 for sure.
No doubt about it. I think they were very purposeful. I think some people were surprised, that maybe I think maybe Batgirl was the one that I think people kind of sort of struggle with. But with that said, as you looked at the list, as you thought through those 5, were you okay with the ranking of those 5, right? Or would you shift that number in any way? Because when you look down at the bottom, you mentioned Storm goes all the way back to your childhood. Does it make sense that Storm is number 2 and that Wonder Woman is number 1, right? Just would you make any adjustments is my question.
I love Wonder Woman. I love Storm. Storm is definitely the first for me. And, I looked up to her as well as that strong woman of color as well when I was little. Because, kids identify with that stuff. They really do. But I do think Wonder Woman on the list makes sense to be above Storm because Wonder Woman definitely came first.
Yeah. And you kind of have to respect that. You have to respect that she's here. She's done a lot, right? And so, but outside of those 2, would you make any other adjustments to that top 5? Are you okay with the ranking that they actually came through in? And right now, for those that are watching, we have Wonder Woman in the first place. We have Storm in 2. We have Batgirl in 3. As I scroll here, Black Widow in 4. And then last, we have Invisible Woman in the 5th spot when you look at the top 5.
I would probably sit Batgirl at number 5. Okay. I definitely think I would put Black Widow above her. I feel like she went through a lot. The beginning of her story, rough, bad guy, then became the good guy, and she's kind of like thrown everywhere, but just showed you how versatile she was and is. And she didn't have all these crazy powers.
That's
She's
true.
like, you know, I think that's awesome because, you know, us as humans, we don't have a bunch of powers either. So you can relate to her that way.
Speak for yourself. I'm super powered. But what what I heard you say there is basically I think you said Batgirl in the 5th spot, Black Widow in 4. Then that would mean that Sue Storm is in the 3rd spot, followed by Storm, and then at the bottom in number 1, Wonder Woman. And I know we're going in reverse order, but I think that made sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Very good. Very good. So one of the other questions that I wanted to ask you as we shift gears, getting back to where this conversation originally started, you know, how well do you think that women are represented in the comic book hobby? And that's kind of where we started was, you know, you're a reader, you're a collector, you're also a comic book dealer. What is your perception of women being represented in this hobby of comics?
Like superheroes, like
It broke up a
right?
little bit. I couldn't hear you.
Oh, I said not. You're talking like not superheroes, just like women in the
No, like
comic book.
actual women like you.
I think there's not many women in hobby, and they're hard to find. You know what I mean? Oh, sorry. The boys have a little watch and it's going off.
That's
Oh,
all right. No
goodness.
worries.
There's not many of us in the comic book hobby, so I feel like we definitely get, you know, there's definitely a lot of respect, and it is definitely a safe community. I have found that out very easy. I mean, I'm trying to think. Like, can you elaborate on that question more, I guess?
Yeah. I mean, I think that you answered the question in the sense that you feel like there are not a whole lot of women in the hobby, right?
Yeah.
And the question really is, are there not a lot of women in the hobby, or are we just not seeing them? That's like part of it, right? Because you know, you have to have the time to get on Instagram and to have a profile and to post stuff up. You know what I'm saying? So is it that they aren't visible or that they aren't present? Because the part of the big challenge that we have is we don't have any demographic information on the hobby. We don't know the size of it. We don't know the makeup of it, you know? And so it would be great to know that, but so much of what we're talking about is just anecdotal evidence as to what we observe online. And what you observe online isn't always the reality, you know? And so as a woman, I wasn't certain whether you spoke to a lot more women than what I see, because I don't feel like there are a ton. I feel like there's a lot, but not a ton, not as many as men. And I wasn't sure whether you were connecting to other women. Like I know you talk to Nerdy Girl, you guys do shows and things like that. I wasn't sure if there was like this network, this underground network of women in comics that was going on that we didn't know about.
I haven't found the underground network of women yet. There is a small handful. I mean, since we started our account on Instagram, and earlier today, we were actually looking at it when we went live earlier, our demographic, it's still at a little under 10% of our followers are female.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's always been around 90% male.
What do you think could be done to encourage more women to either be more vocal if they're not, or to come into the hobby of comics? And I'm not looking for you to necessarily like solve the world's problems. I'm just curious, like, have you thought about it and whether you have any suggestions? Because I'll tell you, when I look at my demographics for my channel, the percentage of women is relatively small. And I wasn't sure if it was because I'm a guy or on YouTube or what, but what are your thoughts about maybe getting more women involved in the hobby if there's a way to do so?
You know, in the cosplayer community is humongous.
Yes.
And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's mainly female. And if you look up hashtag cosplay, it's like millions. It's mostly women. And you know they must know the characters because they are so on point with how
Yes.
they are looking at them. So I think there's definitely a lot more females than we know that do enjoy do enjoy superheroes, whether it's like, you know, on the TV or they're reading the comics. They know about them for sure. I think I've never thought about how to get more women out of the comic closet, if that's a thing.
It's a thing now. You just said it. So it's now a thing. But it's just something that was on my mind, you know, and it's like, I just always, you know, I have a lot of people say that, like, I remember when I came back into the hobby and I went into a comic shop for the first time, I looked over and there was a woman in the comic shop and I was like, I don't know that I've ever seen that. Even, you know, thinking back to when I was a kid, I don't remember ever seeing women in comic shops. And so I was like, maybe this is a new thing, you know? So again, I've found, like you said, the comic industry to be very welcoming by and large to people. And it was, and in my head, I'm like, well, I don't think we're excluding women. I just wonder what we can do to attract more of them. And to your point, when you look at the cosplay stuff, those women are on point with those costumes, and none of that stuff is easy to make. You know, I mean, it's not like
Oh,
you just go to the store and pick it. Like, they are cutting fabric and fabricating and using 3D printers. I mean, that is a labor of love to recreate these costumes that some guy drew out of his head. It really is impressive. And it would be great if more of them were on the hobby side. That's just, you know, me speaking out of turn.
oh no, I 100% agree. And yeah, I don't know what could necessarily be done differently, but it made me think when you were saying that. I lived in Japan for 3 years, and women were all over that stuff, like in Japan, like mangas, and they had this giant, enormous store entertainment. You know, they had mangas, they had, you know, a few comics, not many, but they would be everywhere. And
Hmm.
that's what they would do, is hang out there and stuff like that. And you saw a lot of women, a lot of Japanese women there, you
Interesting.
know? So maybe it could be even, I don't know if it's a culture thing.
No
I don't
clue.
know, but
No clue. It's just fascinating to think about. It really is, you know. And so again, I didn't know if you would have any answers, but you definitely have, you know, made me aware of some things that I wasn't aware, because I certainly didn't know that, you know, women in Japan were into manga. I mean, that's an interesting tidbit, and maybe we need to tweak some things over here to maybe attract more women. So with that said, Sammy, what do you guys have coming up on the horizon? I think you guys have like a sale coming up or something like that. Is that true, or did I just make that up completely?
you made it up. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, we have an upcoming sale, April 2nd at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And we're going live with our friend Regie.
And you
So we
guys
have
do that mostly on Instagram, right?
Yeah, we do all of our live sales on Instagram, and we do them like once a month.
Okay. So the next one,
So
I think I heard correctly, was April 2nd at 9 p.m. Is that what I heard?
yeah,
All right. And if people are interested in checking out your stuff, what do you have any big things that people might be interested in tuning in to check out?
as far as sales go, or just in
Yes,
general.
as far as books that you're going to be offering up on April 2nd, anything major that people might want to check out?
Excellent.
Did
I
you say
love that.
X-Men?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah,
Very good.
X-Men. We'll have Tomb of Dracula.
All right.
Oh,
And people
some
people can find
celebration.
you, on Instagram at Skeleton Key Comics. Yes.
Yes.
All right, there you go. Sammy, I want to thank you for hanging out with me just a little bit. I definitely enjoyed the conversation talking about the 25 best female superheroes of all time, and also learning a little bit about Japanese women and manga. Hopefully folks tune in to the sale that you guys have going on Instagram. But thank you very much for hanging out with me just a little bit.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, take care. All right, shout out to Sammy for hanging out with me just a little bit there. As I alluded to earlier in the show, I have for several months now, maybe 2.5 months, been struggling struggling with the White Rabbit. And earlier today, somebody actually gave me a piece of information. What they showed me was, let me see if I can get this thing teed up here. Actually, I need to take a couple of things off screen real quick. Let me take this banner off real quick. Let me try to share one more time. So shout out to my man Donnell for reaching out to me and showing me this cover right here from I think this is Dynamic Forces. This is Amazing Spider-Man 65. This specific one is signed by Nick Spencer. But down here in the lower left-hand corner, you can see the White Rabbit. The White Rabbit has been something where this book has popped up on my radar, her first appearance, and I could not understand why. Didn't see or hear any signs of anything happening. There was a rumor that there was like a Frogman toy that was out there. And now I think that this is the first time we are actually seeing something concrete illustrating the White Rabbit, and it appears that she is on the cover of Amazing Spider-Man 65. And I think this is where you see right in the middle of there, that Spider-Man in his new costume, which has been the chagrin of a lot of comic book fans. A lot of folks are not necessarily feeling that uniform, but we are going to get our look at that thing very, very soon. So again, shout out to Donnell for hooking me up with that link and allowing me to see what was going on with the White Rabbit. So let me go back to the chat here real quick. Milt says, my 23-year-old daughter-in-law spends about $100 a month on comics. There you go, Doug. Definitely appreciate that, my friend. Sorry. And again, sorry for not going to the chat while she was here. Black Comic Collector said, or character, sorry, says, nice. Gonna check out the IG Skeleton Key. Scrolling through. You know what? I think the way that it works is that you basically do your bid, and I think you also have to send them a message. They will send you an invoice via your email, and then you pay it, and then they ship the books out about a week later. So you're right. We should have asked those questions, but I definitely would encourage you guys to check out Skeleton Key Comics on Instagram. I'm confident that if you guys send Sammy and her husband a message, they will respond to you and kind of let you know the full rundown of what is going on over there with those guys. Scrolling through, my wife and I just finished up Warrior Nun. I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. I enjoyed that show. I found that show on a humble, and I rather enjoyed it. I did not necessarily like the ending. I thought that the ending, the last episode, wasn't quite sure about that one, but generally speaking, I enjoyed that show. It is the White Rabbit season. The White Rabbit is on Marvel and now DC Comics. There you go. You guys are hilarious. Man, these are facts right here. These are facts. The White Rabbit has nothing on the Gibbon because the Gibbon reigns supreme. No doubt about that one. Piston family, Piston fan, it is good to see you. Welcome. Scrolling through some of the comments here. Philip says, the new Spider-Man costume reminds me of the shiny eggs they used to... I didn't know where that comment was going. Well done. Well done. Let me see. I'm scrolling through. Double A dropping knowledge in here. He says they do claim sales mostly, and after sending invoice, they are very organized. Man, I'm going to tell you right now, Sammy has given me a preview of their shop because they call themselves like a virtual comic shop, and I've seen inside their setup there, and they're like super organized, right? Like there is a packing station, there is a Marvel side, a DC side, an indie side. I mean, it is super organized how they do their stuff. So shout out to Double A again for dropping some knowledge in the room about how Skeleton Key Comics does what they do. Just picked up, who's that? Lawn Ranger picked up ASM 61. Yeah, the new suit is a little funky, but I still picked it up and reading it tomorrow. That's what's up. And again, I'm an ASM guy, so even if I don't like it, not saying that I don't, I'm simply saying even if I don't like it, I'm still going to buy it because that is how you do things when it comes to ASM. All right. So again, huge shout out to Donnell. One other thing that I wanted to make mention of for you guys is that I am dropping tomorrow, the top 10 submitted comics into CGC. for February. I am dropping that tomorrow. I spent some time filming and editing that thing. And I think that my graphics will cooperate. If you guys remember the last time I dropped this for January, my graphics were all jacked up. I sat there and I watched the video back and just died inside because my formatting fell out and a couple of my graphics, I don't know what happened to the graphics, but this time I think that we have a high quality video this time. And I did a couple of extra things with the graphics in there. I'm actually a little proud of this one. So fingers crossed that everything is executed flawlessly tomorrow. But tomorrow at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time, I am releasing the top 10 comics submitted in to CGC. And I will tell you for a fact that there are a couple of surprises in this list. So I definitely want to encourage people to check that out. The video that I was going to release tomorrow, I've pushed back to next week. You guys will see that one a little bit later. So scrolling through some of the comments here. What is it? Sammy's? Oh no, Milt says still trying to figure out Instagram and Patreon and need some help. Your daughter your daughter-in-law that spends $100 on comics, Milt, she can hook you up. She has the answers. Trust me when I tell you, my friend. What is this? Got my X-Men 244 CGC 9.4 from the LCS for the low of $9.99 today. Congrats on that, my friend. Congrats on that. Scrolling down to some of the comments here. What is that? There you go. Good people. Nothing but good people here, brother. I'm going to tell you that right now. As someone who has been video editing for 2 decades, bro, it hurt my heart. Like I couldn't even watch the video back because it was so messed up. And it was just like, you know what? We're going to try better next time, you know? And what's crazy is that my format fell out. Like I had a really cool font in there. It's my font that I use for a lot of my stuff. It completely fell out. And as a result of it falling out, then it just kind of threw all the other stuff off. So it was just a mess. It was a mess. But, you know, we hopefully will make up for it this time. All right. So with that said, the very last thing that I want to do is to give you guys an opportunity to pick up a really cool book for my friends over at Go Collect. And so here is the book. It is Amazing Spider-Man issue number 27, a really, really cool book. And this book could be yours. And as a reminder, the Go Collect giveaway is like Fight Club. We don't talk about Fight Club publicly. We don't say, hey, great giveaway book, or any of that other stuff in the comment section. But what you do want to do is you want to head over to the community tab here on YouTube. You want to plug in this phrase right here. My Goblin is the phrase. You plug that in on the community tab. After you go to MailChimp, you plug it in, and then you are automatically in the running. The criteria for this thing is that you have to be a subscriber, a resident of the United States, a resident of Canada, or have a mailing address in the US. Those are the only criteria. It is a relatively low hurdle for people to be able to get over, and it's designed to be a reward for folks to take the time to watch the videos that come out from the channel. So if you are watching this right now, I say thank you for supporting the channel by watching the videos every single week whenever the videos are coming out. So there you go. You have an opportunity right now to pick up a really awesome book again from the folks at Go Collect, Amazing Spider-Man issue number 27. This is a really, really nice book from 1965. So make sure you guys head over and enter. Shout out to my man, Off-White Tim. I definitely appreciate that. He says, not sure what books are being submitted, but custom label. Well done. So, well, let me explain. So the video I'm releasing tomorrow is the video in which I preview all of the books that you guys have sent in to CGC. I report back out to folks to say, this is what the community is submitting to CGC as a leading indicator of what is to come. So much of the other data that is out there being released by other people, a lot of really great data, is based upon sales performance. It is based upon what has already occurred in the past. My list that I release every single month is a preview of what is coming, because these books have not been loaded into the CGC database. they have not been graded, and they certainly have not been sold. So my list is a leading indicator of what you may see sold later on down the line on some of these other lists. But with that said, I will still take that $5, my man Tim, and at some point I will get a custom label. I will tell you, I do have a video probably coming out in about 2 weeks of books that I have submitted into CGC, and I have another one coming a couple of weeks after that of books that I've actually submitted. All right. With that said, I'm going to wrap this thing up. Brandon, thank you, brother. I definitely appreciate that. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me just a little bit. And again, a huge shout out to Sammy from Skeleton Key Comics for joining me and talking a little bit about women in comics and also the list of the best female superheroes of all time. And again, down in the comment section, let me know what you guys think of that list, whether you agree with it or disagree, or whether you make some changes. Definitely interested to hear what you guys have to say. And if you need to reach out to me, feel free to do so on Instagram at Regie Collects. Take care.